Today we're going to be talking about the Benchmade 940 and why this is my most carried knife of all time. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Cross and Copper EDC. I'm Carson, and I'm so glad you took some time out of your day today to spend it with us here. If you're not a member of the Cross and Copper family already, please subscribe and like this video and give us a comment of what your favorite Benchmade knife is. Today we're going to be talking about the Benchmade 940 and why it's my most carried knife of all time and my favorite Benchmade that I own. Before we dig into the nitty-gritty of the knife, I thought I'd share a little scripture with you. I'm working through James chapter 4 with my college group right now, and what we are talking about this week is our pursuits. When we look at James chapter 4, we see a lot of the literature determining what are you pursuing. Are you pursuing the things of the world? Are you pursuing things that glorify you? And it's so vitally important in our lives when we read the scriptures and apply them that we make sure we are following the words of God and pursuing Him and not pursuing the things of the world. Let's make sure when we read this text that we are following what it says. And it's so easy for us to pursue the things in life, but in all reality, it gets down into why and how we are pursuing. You know, that's the key of this channel is I wanted to talk about one of my passions, which is pocket knives and EDC gear, and intermingling it with scripture as well. So making sure that this channel is not to glorify me, but to glorify God Most High. So I hope that encourages you today. In whatever you do, make sure it's glorifying God and not yourself. Now let's get into it. The Benchmade 940 is a very special knife to me, and it holds a lot of sentimental value. It was not my first Benchmade I had ever owned, but it is my favorite. Now this knife is very special to me because my brother, who is in the military, and shout out to all our military members out there or retired military. And thank you for your service. My brother, though, is in the Army. And when he graduated boot camp, he got all of our family really nice Christmas presents. Well, he went to one of the stores on the military base and they had this Benchmade right here. And this is the Benchmade 940. It's an Osborne design. It has a S30V blade. Let's see if I can get it to show you that right there. S30V, Osborne design. And it's got this, I would call it almost a reverse tanto blade shape. It's got this mixture of a satin and belt finish on it. It's got these beautiful Cerakoted green aluminum handles with a nice purple back spacer for just a little pop of color. It's got Benchmade's clip on it, black hardware. Now, the only thing that bugs me is I wish they would have done the hardware to match the blade. The fact that the blade is the satin stonewash and the access bar lock is as well, but none of the hardware is. That's the only point of critique I would have. I would much rather if you're going to go black blade and black access bar lock. And like I was saying, it does have the access lock, which in my opinion is probably my favorite lock on any knife that I have experienced. The access lock is just super fidgety. You can actuate the knife by flicking it open via the thumb stud, and then you just grab the access bar and pull it back, and it closes by releasing tension of the spring on the access bar. You can kind of see it actuating there. You can also pull it back and fling the blade open like that. That's another way you can actuate the knife. Now, this one just happens to be absolutely buttery smooth from it being in my pocket. And really, this knife, in my opinion, is about as good as it gets. You have the really sleek design. It fits in the pocket well. It does not take up too much real estate in your pocket. And that's one thing that really does matter. I like to be able to, put the knife in my pocket and then throw whatever else I need in there on top of it and it not feel too crowded. So this knife really does a really good job of feeling very sleek in the pocket. The texturing on this Cerakote aluminum is very grippy. It could be grippier, but it's very nice. There's subtle jimping up at the top of the handle here. So if you're having to really get into it, it's going to bite your thumb and keep you from creeping up onto the top of that blade. Let's talk about the blade for a minute. The blade shape in itself, look at the amount of stock that's left into that tip. It's a very stout knife, and this knife, in my experience, it takes a really good edge when you resharpen it. It also holds a great edge. Now, S30V will rust a little bit, but living here in Georgia with the amount of outside activities you do, or I do, I'm going to sweat and the knife's going to rust a little bit, but just general maintenance will help with that. You can see just a little bit up here that I need to take off actually. But the blade shape, super utilitarian. It's got the right amount of belly to get through whatever you might need to. It's got a bunch of flat space for your harder pushing cuts as well. I've actually used this knife to cut through drywall with. Didn't have anything else on me at the time, so just pulled out the knife and got to work. The sleekness, the overall design, the blade shape, and of course, the fidgetiness of the knife is what truly makes this knife one of my favorites. And no matter what new knife I get, don't get me wrong, I rotate very regularly all of my knives, and you can ask my wife. She gets very annoyed because I'm constantly looking for new knives. Any of you in the hobby probably can attest to that as well, that you just enjoy the hobby and you like looking for something new. Not that you need it, but the fact that you enjoy collecting knives. But time and time again, no matter what new knife I get, this knife keeps finding itself in my pocket. And I think it's just the overall package for me that makes this my most carried knife of all time. You can see by the clip and the overall wear and tear on the knife that it has seen some good use. There's scratches on it. There's marks in the Cerakote. The blackened finish on the pocket clip is slowly wearing away from use. And that's another thing I encourage you to do. Yes, this is a nice knife. And is there some task I wouldn't want to do with this knife? Yes. But use your tools. Use your knives. Don't let them just sit in a safe and collect dust. Every mark on this that's deep has a story and can tell a story for when you pass these knives down to your children or give one to a friend. So I encourage you to use your tools. Use your knives. Use your EDC gear. Don't let it just sit on a shelf and accumulate dust. And if you have not checked out the Benchmade 940, I highly encourage you. It's an older design from Benchmade, but it is one, in my opinion, that is probably their best in their lineup. There's not many things that they did wrong with this knife. Overall, the Benchmade 940 is a phenomenal knife. You think about the design, you think about the blade shape, the utilitarianness of it, how it can conquer any task you might want to put it through, the sleekness, the overall aesthetics. This is a great knife. And in my opinion, Benchmade really knocked it out of the park. And this is their best knife they've ever done, in my opinion. I hope y'all have a great day. If you're not following us on Instagram, follow us there soon. And keep the channel growing. Keep inviting your friends to join the Cross and Copper family. And if you've watched to the end of the video, there's a giveaway coming up. So I'll be putting out some more information on that coming soon. I hope y'all have a great day. And remember, EDC is not just what you carry in your pockets, but it's what you carry in your hearts as well. Y'all have a great day.